Imagine for a moment that you are walking through a bustling market. The scent of freshly baked bread fills the air. You stop at a stall, buy a crunchy loaf of bread, and pay with a cash note. The transaction is quick, in cash. A daily, innocent act. But in that instant, one of the most powerful and least understood forces of human behavior has been activated. One that has the power to shape economies, fund or bankrupt states, and that resides in the mind of every citizen. What dark impulse, what secret justification allows a perfectly honest person in their family or social life to consciously decide to hide a part of their money from the tax authorities? It's not just greed. It's not simply an economic calculation. It is a complex web of psychological biases, cognitive illusions, and social pressures that turn tax evasion into a fascinating and terrifying phenomenon. Today, we will explore the intricacies of the human mind to answer an uncomfortable question. Are we all potential tax evaders? Let's start with the obvious, with what traditional economics tells us, the model of the rational taxpayer. According to this view, people are like cold calculators. They weigh the benefit of evading taxes against the risk of being caught and the severity of the fine. It's a simple equation, but if this were all, evasion would be much lower than it is. The reality is that our mind is not a calculator, but a battlefield of mental shortcuts and conflicting emotions. One of the most powerful biases is loss aversion. Studies in cognitive psychology show that the pain of losing something is, psychologically, twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it. For our brain, paying taxes doesn't feel like a gain for society, but like an immediate and tangible loss of our money. Every dollar that goes to the treasury hurts, and this pain pushes us to seek relief, to cling to what we consider ours with an irrational force. Then there is the anchoring effect. Our mind clings to the first information it receives. If we grew up in an environment where hearing "you have to be smart with the tax man" was common currency, that idea becomes our anchor, an unwritten social norm that distorts our moral compass. Similarly, if an acquaintance boasts of aggressive tax planning, that behavior sets a benchmark, making our own minor evasion seem trivial, almost justifiable. And we cannot forget the bandwagon effect. Evasion is contagious. When a taxpayer perceives that evasion is widespread in their circle or sector, a powerful instinct for justice and group belonging is triggered. Why should I be the only one who pays? It's a question that resonates in the minds of millions. Distrust becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I believe everyone evades, I must too, which in turn fuels the belief that everyone evades. It is a social virus that corrodes trust, the cement that holds any society together. But psychology goes beyond individual biases and delves into the territory of morality and the relationship with the state. Tax psychology has shown that taxpayers' willingness to pay taxes is intimately linked to their trust in institutions. If a citizen perceives their government as corrupt, that it wastes money, or that the system is deeply unfair, their tax morale plummets. Evasion stops being a crime and becomes an act of poetic justice, a silent rebellion. A study cited by Chiat is conclusive. Less corrupt governments collect 4% more of their GDP in taxes than those with high levels of corruption. Evasion, then, is also a symptom of a divorce between the citizen and the state. Now, let's set the stage for the controversial element, the one that will surely set the comments section on fire. Let's talk about the thin and often blurry line that separates tax evasion from tax avoidance. Evasion is illegal. It is hiding income. It is defrauding. But avoidance is using legal loopholes and complex strategies, often on the edge of legality, to reduce the tax burden. It is the territory of large corporations and fortunes that shift their profits to tax havens. And here comes the uncomfortable question, the one that divides opinions. Is aggressive tax avoidance simply the rich version of the small shopkeeper as evasion? Is the psychological principle not the same? Both actors, from their vastly different positions of power, are motivated by loss aversion, Both can justify their action by arguing that the system is unfair, and both, ultimately, weaken the state's ability to provide services. While the small shopkeeper doesn't declare a cash sale, the multinational moves millions through manipulated transfer pricing. Where do we draw the moral line if the underlying psychological impact is identical? This collective hypocrisy, this normalization of a fiscal double standard, is one of the great taboos of our society. So, are we doomed to be hostages of our biases? Not necessarily. The most advanced tax administrations in the world are already applying behavioral sciences to encourage voluntary compliance. Instead of relying only on the stick of fines, they use knowledge of human psychology. For example, by sending letters highlighting that 9 out of 10 taxpayers in your area have already paid their taxes, leveraging the bandwagon effect in favor of compliance. They simplify procedures, because complexity is the breeding ground for evasion. And crucially, they work on transparenting the destination of taxes, emotionally connecting the payment to a hospital, a school, or a park. They are playing by the rules of our own minds to rebuild trust. In the end, tax evasion is not a simple economic crime. It is a dark mirror of our collective psychology. It reflects our fear of loss, our tendency to follow the crowd, our deep need to feel that the system is fair, and perhaps, most revealing, our infinite capacity to justify our own actions while pointing the finger at others. The next time you feel that small temptation, that little voice that whispers to you not to declare something, stop for a second. It's not just a transaction. It's a psychological decision. Are you giving into a bias? Are you following a toxic social norm? Or are you taking a conscious stand against a system you perceive as unfair? The answer to these questions not only defines your relationship with the tax authority, it defines your place in the invisible social pact that keeps us together. If this journey into the mind of the evader has made you reflect, if it has disturbed or even angered you, then we have achieved our goal. Give us your opinion in the comments. Do you think the tax avoidance of the rich is psychologically equivalent to the evasion of the common citizen? Where is the limit? Leave us your questions and experiences. Share this video with someone to debate with. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our next analysis of the psychology behind the problems that define us. The conversation has just begun.